Darren, Eliot. We are streamed live all over the Vegas Golden Knights social media channels as well as on your radio right now. 10 goals, 6-4. The only time somebody led by 2 was the empty net goal by Alex Pietrangelo as they went back and forth. Vegas led on 4 different occasions and pick up the win to end the homestand at 3-1.
I was at the game as a fan, luckily.
Yeah, were you stressed or did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I'm with my daughter Jillian, my wife Meredith, but guess what? Lots of high fives in the crowd at the Fortress last night. That's fun hockey if you're a fan.
Because there's 2 different ways to look at it. Some people are stressed. The coaches are unhappy at times because of attention to detail, and they don't like to see mistakes. And with a 6-4 game, there's lots of mistakes. And then you have the entertainment factor. So you've got all these different areas coming into play at the same time.
Yeah, again, it depends on your perspective. Let's be honest. It turns into stress if you lose that game 6-4 with an empty netter.
Yes.
You get the result you want, so you walk away feeling completely satisfied and satiated with all those goals.
3-1 on the homestand follows up the 5-1 homestand. So over the last 10 games at T-Mobile Arena, you're 8-2. It's really become a big factor in the turnaround for the Golden Knights, along with the health of the team and the other factors.
Yeah, the home ice advantage certainly has been timely. Taking care of business. And it's been something that, teams around the league call it one of the toughest places to come into and play. I walked away as well being probably a little bit more impressed with Minnesota than I expected to be. Mm-hmm. They're a big, heavy team that they're not going to go away, I don't think.
Should you play the same team 17 times in every calendar year? Because that was the 17th time in 2021 that the Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild faced. And you could see it in the difference between Friday night's encounter against Philadelphia. You hadn't played in
football.
And then last night against the Minnesota Wild helped build up the drama.
Absolutely. There was animosity from the beginning. There was some nastiness. Nobody was going to give an inch. Guys trying to take liberties with the opposition. That's because of the familiarity, and it does breed contempt.
Robin Leonard bounces back. He picks up the victory in an 80s type performance, and the win is the most important thing, right? And
that's an 80s angle for sure.
I love what he said after. Like, he's not happy with where his game is, and then there's some bounces and some goofy things going on too that contribute it and help pile on. But how much can you just take out of the win factor for Robin?
You're contributing. So you're part of the team, and you're going through moments where you're not at your best, but you're getting results. As a goalie, that's really important. And he was brilliant in the postgame with you guys last night, you and Gary, because it was true that he knows he's not on his game right now. I mean, he threw the puck, a wide shot, didn't handle it cleanly, throws it over his head into the blue paint, tying goal in the third period. That's not tidy play. Let's be honest. So,
and for it to actually end up right where it did,
right?
It was like, really?
That's where he is right now. But he knows what he has to work on, and he talked technically. He talks about he doesn't give himself a lot of credit, at least outwardly, because he talks about kind of cheating, playing the angles, and he likened it to poker. Mm-hmm. Right,
Danny Negreanu got a little shout out.
Yeah, he did. So he's all of those. But the one thing he says, I've been caught a little deep lately. It's like there's a guy. He's working with Mike Rosati, the goalie coach. He works on his. He's thinking about his game. He's aware, and this team has always been very self-aware.
How much would it surprise you that with 6 goals scored, only 6 Golden Knights had points last night? Well, that tells you how much of the load that big line carried.
That's when, after a game in which you generate 44 shots on goal and lose because you really didn't have anybody at the net. We talked about, right? Yeah. It was 44 shots, but there were 4 or 5 guys that probably weren't dialed in like they needed to be. But you still could have won that game. You didn't.
Yeah.
So who comes to the forefront? Your star players, and they sure did. And that's why, being at the game and watching it, not that surprised.
because it can go, and it's not a right or wrong.
No.
Like it's just more often you would get that offense spread around where
Right.
guys would pick up a second assist here or there, and you'd have 10 guys, 11 guys with points.
Well, I thought, again, the power play is usually the same guys, so they scored a couple times there. The penalty kill got on track. I know they gave up a goal, but when it mattered, they did some yeoman's work, but nothing in terms of scoring. It was all about the return to the lineup after a one-game absence of Chandler Stevenson driving that top line.
We'll get into Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty and their performance, along with Chandler Stevenson, an emotional effort for the pivot. But on the big picture side of it, being able to go on this road trip with a little bit of momentum, like you beat Calgary to start the homestand, first place team in the Pacific, and you beat Minnesota to end it, the top team in the Central and the top team in the National Hockey League. The stumble in against Philadelphia aside, you must go out with feeling like you're playing some of your best hockey of the year.
Oh, for sure. And again, the quote-unquote stumble against Philadelphia, you didn't give up very much.
No.
5-on-5, you actually did, from a coaching staff standpoint, probably as much as you would.
Probably better than the other games.
As much as you'd want or expect. So, yeah, I agree with you. In the totality of it, you're playing good hockey. You're going east. You're going to play some pretty good teams there as well.
Boston, Jersey, Rangers, and the Islanders is the road trip. Strange road trip because you play 4 games, but you only take 3 flights and you only stay in 2 hotels.
Because four
games.
a week, right? In 6 days.
It's like a minor hockey tournament where you go and you're playing all these different teams, but you're in one location the whole time because they do center out in Manhattan and then go to Long Island and go to New Jersey and play at MSG.
It cuts down on a lot of logistics. Let's be honest. So good for the guys. Hopefully they continue to play good hockey.
What are you seeing in the turnaround from this club? Is it just a simple fact of getting yesterday? Was that a game that is won just because they're healthy?
Well, if depends who's out of the lineup, but I mean, you needed your top guys yesterday, and they were all in the lineup. So part of it is yes, your best guys are returning to form, not just in the lineup. But from the very beginning, the attention to it was such a fast-paced game. There were details, right, in terms of closing space. Minnesota was quick on the counter, but the backtrack of the forwards was better than it was against Philadelphia for sure. It just seemed like they were, as a group, they were connected. That we always talk about 5 guys on the ice being connected, the 3 and the 2. They were all over the ice, and it showed with the offense, with White Cloud scoring a couple times, and it showed with the defense. They didn't give up again very much 5-on-5.
Are you at a point where you could call any of those wins, the Calgary performance, the Dallas comeback, or beating the best team in the National Hockey League, a turning point? Or, well, I ask that question.
I don't see it as a turning point. I see it as a progression. Because everything leads to the next wave of games, the next game, the next challenge, and that's why, like pro sports, when you follow a team, it is reality TV, the best, because it's like one thing to the next. I don't think you go, especially this group that has such high expectations. Oh, they're not a revelation beating Calgary. It's not a revelation beating Minnesota. It's like, okay, we're getting closer to what we know we can do consistent. Now, can we do this for a long stretch of time?
Interesting that you use the term progression and take that pack, because if you're ever going to point to a turning point of the season, it was probably going out on that road trip after the 1-4 start,
guaranteed,
and winning those 2. That might have been the turning point, or somewhere in that mix of games where you're struggling throughout, not as they get healthier.
It was a necessary, because
the sweep of in Denver and Dallas.
Right. 2 really good teams. You come back 1-6. Okay, that's a not insurmountable, but it's a deeper hole. So, yeah, that they could prove to themselves early on that they could win with the guys who were around. Yeah, that was a moment that was a turning point for that part of the season in that group of guys, which isn't even the same group of guys right now.
I'm amazed at how much they're scoring. When the totality of the season, from start to finish,
Yeah.
and it might be a byproduct of where the game is at right now. Maybe it's loosened up across the National Hockey League because we aren't hearing about the lack of offense like we have it in the past, or it might just be this team. But between the injuries and now, that is 6 straight games that they've scored 3 goals or more in a game. Like it is impressive.
Yeah, 3 goals is. I mean, that's.
But it's a game to 3. You hear Pete talk about that.
Yeah, as a baseline, if you will. But to me, the difference with the club here is the fact that they're committed to having all 5 guys engaged on offense all the time. Not just a couple lines, not just 1 or 2 deep pairings, all 6 defensemen. So that, to me, makes a huge difference. They should score a lot of goals because they're committed to doing those.
And Zach Whitecloud is part of that. We hear during different media availabilities where they'll talk to a Braden McNabb or a Zach Whitecloud or Alex Pietrangelo, and they all have the same message. We are encouraged as a defensive group to get involved in the play. And Zach Whitecloud is a player that if he played 82 games at the pace that he's on with 5 in 15, he'd be close to a 30-goal scorer. He'd be around 28 goals.
And we take it.
I didn't see that.
Oh no,
I'm impressed, and I will be honest with you and say I didn't see that. But the shot and the way he scores his goals, these aren't seeing eye pucks going through 9 sets of legs.
No, it's the opposite. There's nobody around him because he's jumped up very astutely. He really has impressed me with his reading of the play because he can't jump up all the time. But when he does, there's usually nobody checking him. So it's a one-on-one with the goaltender, and to your point, his shot and all those other things, he's scoring on those. But the reason he's able to do that, the confidence he's been given as a group, as a team, as a player, they expect you to be there. Mm-hmm. And if you're there with the skill you have up front, you're going to have chances.
So what is he as a defenseman? How do we classify Zach Whitecloud?
Emerging. I like I said.
But I want a title. I want defensive defenseman, offensive defenseman, a hybrid.
To put him in.
I need.
How about just hockey players? Like if I look at Alex Pietrangelo, he's leading the forecheck sometimes. Mm-hmm. He's reading the play. Should I be there? Should I be there? Should I be backing out? He doesn't do that very often. Mm-hmm. Should I be supporting? Should I be the first one? And then in the defensive zone, it's the same thing. And he slows things down. There's an essence to this team that I find very, very attractive, having been in the game my whole life. They just play hockey. They don't do what you just asked. Bucket. Okay, you're a 4th line guy. You're this. You're that. They got a little bit away from that. Our 4th line is now, we're still in transition, but what are we going to be as a 4th?
They had some great chances yesterday,
right?
Didn't they? Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're supposed to score too. We're not just supposed to take time off the clock or make sure that we get a favorable matchup on a faceoff.
Change momentum with a hit.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you start going, you know what? Everybody's here to play hockey. Play hockey means to score goals. Score goals means we have to be, again, back to 5 guys connected.
Do you think Zach Whitecloud can score 10 goals in a year?
Yes. This year, he's already at 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's face it. It might not. All those chances might not be there all season long, but and he doesn't get these aren't power play goals. Like he's not even getting any time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
These are even strength goals. Great reads by him. Very, very smart hockey player.
Just writing that down. Not even power, so I can steal that later for the Insider Show.
There you go.
You don't mind that, do you?
Not at all.
Do you require
no attribution?
No attribution?
It's out there in the public, so
okay.
Anybody could have figured it out.
Spectacular Hotel Californian in Santa Barbara, California is the newest exciting addition to the Foley Entertainment Group. Experience an extraordinary stay in one of the 121 luxury guest rooms and suites. Taste the region's finest wine at Foley Food and Wine Society's tasting room, and treat yourself to unparalleled massages at Majorelle at Moroccan-inspired spa, all in the heart of the American Riviera. You going? You in?
Absolutely.
All right, let's make it a weekend trip, play a little round, a couple of rounds of golf. Let's go. Designed for domestic and international guests alike, Hotel California is the perfect destination for any traveler seeking a one-of-a-kind luxury experience. Hotel California, write it down. listen, put it in your memory banks, is Santa Barbara's premier urban destination. Visit hotelcalifornian.com to book your stay today. When we continue, the rise of Max Pacioretty to elite goal-scoring status in the National Hockey League. He's always been incredibly talented and effective, but we're seeing something at a whole different level. We'll dig into that as we continue on Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Darren Millard along with Darren Eliot. I feel bad. Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas, streaming on all the VGK social media channels. I admitted that I was going to steal a couple of things from you for the VGK Insider Show later. I want to give something back to you. So write this down, nhl.com/vote. Okay?
Got it.
All right, and then you can vote for the captains of the NHL All-Star Game coming into Vegas in February. You got to make some choices. There's 5 Vegas Golden Knights.
I
you
saw
can vote
that.
for. But you can vote 10 times in 24 hours.
Oh,
and
every
I am no. You can vote 10 times in one 24-hour period. I am stuffing that ballot box.
For who?
I'm spreading it. I'm spreading it around. Yes. I'm trying to be politically
So-
correct, but I'm making sure that a Vegas Golden Knight will be the captain.
Yes, but so it doesn't matter. You're kind of nullifying the vote, so it doesn't matter to you who it is.
Exactly. As long as it's a VGK.
Okay.
The
got you.
shield.
I got
I'm going for the shield.
I got your strategy.
All right. The name on the front.
That's
Crest on the front, not the name on the back.
and the
that
location.
whole hockey thing.
It's going to be one of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm ensuring. First time I've ever done this, like really stuffed the ballot box like that. So Pacioretty, that's 10 goals in 10 games. Do that math over an 82-game season. All right, I just gave you the Zach Whitecloud numbers. So Max Pacioretty, closest he's been to a 40-goal season is 39. That's hard to believe, but he may get to 40 despite missing a whack of games early on in this campaign.
Yeah, I mean, typically scorers go through periods of a little bit of a drought. We haven't seen it yet from Max. We've talked about it, though, over the last couple of seasons. We've seen his game mature. To his credit, he's put in the work to add layers and nuance to his game. Could always shoot. Sometimes maybe as a big, burly winger, you come down, you got a world-class shot, you shoot from 30 feet. Oh, it's not going in. But you haven't added anything else to it. You haven't driven the net. You haven't gotten to the front. He does that now. So it's not just about the shot. He's certainly fun to watch. And in the open ice right now, confident.
He's worked a lot with Misha Donskov. They have that bond. We brought the television audience that story last night and expanded on how it's not Misha, the assistant coach, dragging Max out there. They're almost in tandem. It's a race to get to the ice. And Max was awesome early on before he got hurt in the first two games of the preseason. Like it looked like there was something special happening. But what's intrigued me is the different fashions and you use the word layers, but it's breakaways. It's a one-timer. It's a rebound against Philadelphia.
Right.
Like there's multiple different ways. And then you've got good old reliable in the power play.
Right. And like I said, he in the past, when I think of him in Montreal, he's really, he was a captain, an all-star, but maybe a little reliant on his shot because the layers weren't there yet. The ability to drive the net away from the play and score in front. So getting to the open ice and being open for breakaways, those things have been added. And the more ways you can score with his skill and his size, you're going to score more. That's what we've seen so far.
Just looking up his shooting percentage right now, and looks like it's I'll get it to you. Just be 16.9. So that's not what, like Marcus Foligno came in here last night at like 28%. And you know that's going to level off. 16.9 is about 2.5% higher than his career average.
And that's a high career average. That means he's a good scorer. He shoots a lot too.
But that 16.9 tells me this is somewot maintainable. Not a goal per game.
Right.
He scored a goal in 6 straight games, which is a Vegas Golden Knights record. But it also doesn't tell me that this is going to level out to a gap in production.
No, and again, if he continues to get looks in different manners, chances are he'll continue to flourish. Again, goal a game pace, I'm not betting on it. I'm hoping for it for him and for the team, but probably not as things get a little bit tighter at times of the year. But he certainly is getting different kinds of looks. It's not one-dimensional as it's evolved over his career.
This won't surprise you at all. It's Daren Millard and Darren Eliot here on Nighttime at Noon, Fox Sports Las Vegas from Studio 31 at City National Arena and the VGK social media channels. After Max scored and there was the kerfuffle following the goal, I like the bite, the chirping, the actions for Max. Like seeing that part of his game and being so engaged. That took it to a whole new level for me. And the little keep talking with his hand, that was great.
Oh yeah, everybody was fully vested last night, especially that top line as we talked about. They carried the mail in terms of offense.
Chandler Stevenson missed Friday night's game due to the passing of his grandmother. Went back to Saskatchewan for the funeral and then returned and scores 4 points for the first time in his career. He did great things for himself in the early part of the season without his two big wingers, like his stock rose. He leads his team in points. His stock went up because he continued to get it done without his wingman. Friday night, they didn't have him, and it might have just been the Philadelphia. I'm leery about one-offs, but because it fits my narrative right now, I'll use it. They weren't as effective. And then they get him back, and everything blossoms.
Yeah, don't let the facts get in the way of a good
Right,
story,
exactly.
but a good narrative. But anyway, no, and it showed. I mean, the first part of it is truly legitimate because so many people said, wow, Chandler Stevenson, anybody can play between those two. Not true. Mm-hmm. I mean, it helps to have that kind of skill. But what Chandler Stevenson has in his own right and now proven is he himself is viewed as a skilled performer. So he has, really elevated his reputation. Without him, and again, it's a one-off, but in that instance, they miss his speed. His speed opens up a lot, not just for him, for the guys on that line, and that's why they're so successful as a trio.
For a 5th-round pick and a cap-friendly contract.
Oh.
Like, look at the cap. Your number one center, cap-friendly contract. Zach Whitecloud, cap-friendly contract.
Oh, yeah.
As much as they brought in the star players, you can't do that without some of these great. And Chandler Stevenson, from his spot in Washington to now, is well paid.
Yep.
He's established himself as a full-time National Hockey Leaguer in a top 6 position. Zach Whitecloud, free agent signing, will love the compensation that he's making right now and where he is in the National Hockey League. Not saying that they aren't beneficiaries of this either, but the team and that side, it's huge.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. Again, you go back to this organization and what their metrics are in terms of projecting what a player is and what he can be in our style of hockey. Very, very important.
And not right now.
Correct. If we're reading this right and whatever, the secret sauce, I don't know it. I wish I did. I wish a lot of teams probably wish they did. Because whatever analytics they use, they have been so good at projecting what a player can do. Because I see it, lots of teams try to do this. Hey, if we give him more ice time, he has 12 goals a year. Well, it's not a straight multiplier.
Yeah.
It's how do we play? How does he play? What are his strengths? Do they match up with what we're trying to do as a hockey club? And in the spot, in the role that we have him penciled in for. They've been magnificent, from William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault, right from the Misfit days, all the way through to Zach Whitecloud.
They are gathering in Alberta, Canada for the World Junior Championship, the 2022 edition that takes place over Christmas and crowning a champion early in the new year. We will get into the VGK participation in just a little bit, but one story coming out of the Pacific Division in the last week has been the rise of the Vancouver Canucks from the ashes of disappointment. Coaching change, managerial change. The manager didn't arrive until this weekend, and they'd won 4 in a row after another victory last night over a team that has been playing good. So Vancouver, with Bruce Boudreau at the helm, is it different? Is it a blip?
Well, it might be a blip, but it is different. I mean, Bruce Boudreau is a guy that relies on his talent. He's not looking to roll 4 lines if he doesn't have to. He's going to play his top guys, which keeps the top guys happy, which seems to fit the narrative coming out of Vancouver. The second thing is he's always been way more about going for it, whereas in Vancouver up to this point they've been maybe trying to protect their lack of defensive abilities. So they're too passive, which took away from what they were good at, potentially, is on the attack.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to attack, and one of the biggest areas where that's obvious, he said, okay, my best players are going to be on the penalty kill, just like we have here, for a good reason, to get them going. But the flip side of that is you have the puck a lot. So they might not be defending as well, but the best offense, best defense, a good offense lots of times, and they've, only given up what? They win 4-0, 2-1, 4-3. Those are by shootout, and 2-1 again. So they've cut down on the goals against by being more aggressive.
Demko's been lights out, and he's one of the stars of the week.
And he's going to have to be. But it's going to be, hey, we're going for it. We're not going to inhibit our strength to try to protect our weakness, I guess, is the biggest change in philosophy with Bruce Boudreau.
I say that Demko's been lights out, but it's kind of like his job, isn't it?
A lot of coaches think that.
I don't know.
Like, just stop the puck. You don't care.
Can you stop everything? What happened there? Yeah, seriously, why does Doug McLean used to say, go down to his goalie coach when he was president and when he was coaching the Florida Panthers, and then when he was president GM of the Columbus Blue Jackets, he'd go to Clint Millard or Billy Smith or whoever was his goalie coach at the time, and he'd say, "What happened there?" And Clint would say, "It was tipped." And Doug's response was, "Why does every puck that's tipped have to go in?"
Well, there are some that go wide, but the ones that are on goal go in.
Why can we not stop one that's tipped in there? We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll wrap things up by bringing you up to date with the VGK contribution to the World Junior Hockey Championship that's coming up. And I also want to tell you about a great opportunity to get involved and support the VGK Foundation. That's coming up tonight over at the ballpark, and Derek England is going to be helping out at a food drive. We'll give you the details on that. It's nighttime at noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas. This should just be 1 hour stream show, nonstop.
Okay, I'm in.
Because what we do in the commercial break is almost as good as what we're doing live on the air.
Well, according to us.
Hold on. What's that? Oh, we're live now?
Oh,
Well, welcome back. Nighttime at noon. Darren Millard along with Darren Eliot.
finish your rant.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were on a roll during that commercial break. We got the World Junior Hockey Championships. So we are broadcasting live from Studio 31 at City National Arena, nighttime at noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas, and can't wait for the VGK Insider Show. Open phones every Monday from 4 to 4:30. Have your say. So if you're streaming it right now, give us a call 876-1340, area code 702, from 4 o'clock to 4:30. Every Monday on the VGK Insider Show. It's all about you having your opportunity to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights, and we will be talking about the prospects a lot over the next couple of weeks, several of which from the Golden Knights side of things will be participating in the 2022 World Junior Hockey Championship. It always kind of sends my brain for a flip because it's the 2022 tournament, but
Right.
3/4 of it is played in 2021.
But it's always something we look forward to. It has become instrumental in the hockey season for scouts, GMs, and prospects alike. They can separate themselves. There's a lot of underage, if you will, buzz this year. But in terms of what's going on for each particular team, it's slightly different. I'm looking forward to see Lucas Cormier because he's having such a good season. I'd like to see him make Team Canada and be a real contributor.
Yeah, it sounds like he is going to be one of those that is going to be leaned on for Team Canada. Canada lost the gold medal game to Team USA and Trevor Zegras and company last year in the gold medal final, 2-0. Team USA has an interesting look, not as stocked with first-round picks as we saw a year ago.
Right.
But Vegas kind of spread its talent around. Canada, Sweden, the Czech Republic, Slovakia.
Yeah, but again, all these guys everybody that you just mentioned, they're all playing in Canadian junior hockey.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
No matter what country they come from.
Jakob Brabenec is in the QMJHL for Charlottetown, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Demek is in the Western Hockey League, and Jesper Vikman, the goaltender, is playing for Vancouver Giants of the Western Hockey League. He plays for Sweden.
And I think Cormier and Brabenec, they're teammates in junior, so it's like, there's some familiarity there for the two prospects.
What's your World Junior memory? Like, what jumps out at
The one,
you?
because I never played in it. I didn't even know it existed. Maybe it didn't, because I'm so old.
No, it did.
It did, but it wasn't a thing until TSN made it a thing in Canada. The Sports Network in Canada, the ESPN comparable in Canada turned that from an event into a must-see event, and it's become that over time. I remember Marc-Andre Fleury bouncing the puck
Right.
in off the forechecker or off his own player in front, trying to make a play up the ice, bounce past him. They lose the gold medal.
Who do you bank that puck off of? Bobby Ryan? Sounds like a assignment for Google. Dr. Google. Will, Dak, let's go. I can't remember whether it was Bobby Ryan or not that he bounced that puck off of. Mine was Manny Legacy against the Russians. Now that's how old I am, because Manny is the goalie coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets now and has been so.
It was a performance
for a long time, and that was when they just played the round robin, and you had to win all 7 games or whatever, not the pools. And that's one of the great adjustments that they've made too.
For sure.
Making it 2 pools and having a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and so forth. Yes. Patrick O'Sullivan.
That's right.
Really? Okay.
Well
one of
done.
the great skilled players of all time, and his most famous goal was a puck that bounced off him by the goaltender. Edmonton Oilers draft
I
pick.
remember that now. Because he's talked about that.
Flower, 500 wins. Couple of little quick hitters here. 500 wins in Montreal.
Unreal. Saw him when he was a kid, first round pick. Pittsburgh was terrible. Mm-hmm. He was phenomenal, fastest feet I'd ever seen, and they haven't slowed down much yet.
NHL bouncing back. They've got a salary cap increase expected to be around $1 million, and then we get the big bump in a couple of years when all the leagues are going to go through this when you get through COVID.
Handled quite well, but again, pretty good partnership between the NHL and NHLPA to get it done the way they've gotten it done.
A lot of dialogue happening this week regarding the Olympic Games in Beijing, and the big hurdle between widespread participation or potentially a handful of players not going is the COVID protocols if you do test positive while you're in China. What's your gut feeling on where we're headed with this?
You know where I've been on this for many months.
But doesn't it change a little bit day to day? I flip-flop all over the place.
To me, it's a real reach. Always has been because of where it's being held. Some of the things behind, not just the politics, but the health considerations. If you're a player with any situation, you've got responsibilities back here to your team, and if you have family, you don't want to test positive over there. I think that's too much of an unknown, even if they tell you it's going to be a certain way.
I was in Japan.
But
I was in Japan, and there were several positive tests by athletes leading up to the games.
Right.
Both at their domestic location and when they arrived in Japan. And once they got into the bubble, it was fine. But if you test positive, like there was a beach volleyball player tested positive when he arrived in Japan, he had to quarantine for a couple of weeks, but it wasn't 5.
Well, yeah, here it's 3 to 5. Every country has their own rules and protocols for that.
5 changes everything.
I think it does, but again, we'll see.
Imagine being stuck with me for 5 weeks.
That wouldn't be a quarantine.
That'd be a sentence. Derek Englund volunteering to assist 3 Square to serve local families in need with a food drive at Desert Breeze Park, part of the VGK's 21 Nights of Giving. That's tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. So check out Derek and the food drive at Desert Breeze Park at 8:30 a.m. Enchant. Have you been over to the Las Vegas ballpark yet with the Enchant?
I have, but not to really experience it.
I'm going tonight.
Nice.
It's part of the Night of Giving, so all the proceeds tonight go towards the VGK Foundation.
Yep.
That is going to be awesome. I can't wait because I see it every night when I leave. I hear it. I see everybody
Sounds pretty cool.
going over and coming back. It's spectacular. I can't wait to take the kids over there. And the HSK Lucky Launch, you know what that is?
I do. It's like a teddy bear toss. They do it all over.
I like it better when I have uninformed co-hosts. Because then I sound smarter. But when my co-host knows everything already.
Don't know everything. I know a lot, but not everything.
We will be doing the 15 minutes that we missed off the top off air just as practice. But thanks for you for listening. Darren, Eliot, Will, Dakota, Andrew for working so hard to get us on the air today. Appreciate it. We'll chat with you next on the VGK Insider Show at 4 o'clock on Fox Sports Las Vegas as the Golden Knights embark on a 4-game road trip which begins tomorrow in Boston. Talk to you later today.